Welcome to the results video for UFC Fight Night Sandhagen vs Nurmagomedov, where we will find out which UFC predictions channels had the most and least correct picks, which channels' picks would have won and lost you the most money if you followed all of their picks, and which channels are on a winning and losing streak. But first, let's look at the totals for this event. On this card there were 13 fights and 66 channels made a total of 786 predictions. So on average each channel made predictions for 11.9 fights. A lot of channels made correct predictions this week compared to other weeks. 71.5% of all predictions were correct and 28.5% were incorrect from all channels combined. This week the favorite fighters in odds won 12 out of 13 times, and only in one fight the underdog won, which was Sam Hughes, who won against Victoria Dudakova. If you had placed a $100 bet on the favorite fighter in odds to win the fight for every fight on this card, you could have won $475 for a return of investment of 36.5%. But if you placed a $100 bet on the underdog for every fight on this card, you would have lost $1,055 for a minus 81.2% return of investment. The favorite in picks from the Tapology community was exactly the same as the favorite fighter in odds, so the same results. The favorite fighter in picks by the UFC YouTube Predictors won 11 out of 13 times. So if you followed all the favorite picks from the YouTube Predictors, you would have won $295 for a 22.7% return of investment. So also still not so bad. Which channels had the least correct picks this week? For this part of the video we will only look at channels that made predictions on at least 50% of all the fights. That means 7 fights at minimum for this card. At number 5 we have these 12 channels. They all had 8 out of 13 picks correct for a 62% correct pick percentage. In 4th place with least correct picks is Paul from the Dogger Pass podcast on the Mayo Media Network. He had 6 out of his 10 predictions correct for 60% correct. In 3rd place for least correct picks we have 5 channels: Baby Sharp MMA, Lucas Tracy MMA, Cody, also from the Dogger Pass podcast, Mom's Basement MMA, and UFC Genie. All of these 5 channels had 7 picks correct from their 13 total picks, or 54% correct. In 2nd place is Clanbot. He made 12 predictions and 6 of them were correct for a 50% correct pick percentage. And in number 1 this week for the least correct picks is Kunat. He also had 6 picks correct, but he made a total of 13 predictions, so his correct pick percentage is 46%. Now let's look at which channels had the most correct picks this week. In 5th place for most correct picks this week we have Greedo Plays and Money Moicano. They both have 10 picks correct out of their 12 predictions, or 83% correct. In 4th place we have 9 channels and 8 out of 9 have MMA in their name. They all had 11 out of 13 picks correct for an 85% correct pick percentage. In 3rd place for most correct picks this week is the Ice Files. He had 9 out of 10 correct for 90% correct. In 2nd place is MMALeaked. He made 11 predictions this week and 10 of them were correct, or 91%. But in number 1 this week with the most correct picks is Double Vision MMA 365. He had all of his 13 picks correct for a 100% correct pick percentage. So congratulations on Double Vision MMA 365 for sweeping this card. And how did you do with your picks this week? Let us know in the comments below. Here is the overview for all channels, also including the channels that made less than 7 predictions this week, with their total picks, the correct picks and the correct pick percentage. Which channel would have lost you the most money this week if you blindly followed all of their picks, even if they were very low confident picks? To calculate these outcomes, we use the odds from the tail of the tape that are shown before each fight. At number 8 of the most unprofitable predictors this week is Cody from the Dogger Pass podcast on the Mayo Media Network on YouTube. His 13 predictions could have lost you $225 for a minus 17% return of investment. In 7th place are DC Picks, Fight Realm and High Kick Fight Picks. They all had the same predictions, and if you followed any of these 3 channels, you could have lost $230 on your $1,300 investment for a return of investment of minus 18%. 6th place is UFC Genie. He would have lost you $260 if you followed all of his predictions for a minus 20% return of investment. And with $3 lost more is Lucas Tracy MMA for also a minus 20% return of investment. In 4th place is Baby Sharp MMA. If you followed all of his picks blindly, you would have lost $272 for a minus 21% return of investment. In 3rd place for most unprofitable predictor this week is Mom's Basement MMA. If you followed all of his picks, you would have lost $279 for a minus 21% return of investment. In 2nd place is Clanbot. If you followed all of his predictions, you could have lost $365 for a minus 30% return of investment. Number 1 this week for the most unprofitable predictor is Kunat. If you followed all of his picks, you could have lost $476 for a minus 37% return of investment. Which channel could have won you the most money if you followed all of their picks and placed a $100 bet on each pick for the outcome of the fight? In 8th place we have 3 channels: Nobby MMA, the MMA Guru and the MMA Fortune Teller. All of these 3 channels could have won you $295 or 22.7% return of investment because they all had the exact same picks. In 7th place is Tiger Bomb MMA. He could have won you $298 for a 22.9% return of investment on your $1,300 investment. The Ice Files only made 10 picks this week, and if you followed all of his 10 picks, you could have won $304 for a pretty good return of investment of 30.4%. In 5th place, with the exact same picks, are MMA Data Guy and Once Upon a Slugfest. If you had followed one of these channels' picks, you could have won $310 for a 23.9% return of investment. In 4th place is MMALeaked. He made 11 picks this week, and if you followed all of them, you could have won $312 for a 28.3% return of investment. In 3rd place for most profitable predictors this week are Artem MMA and Leftlane MMA. If you followed one of these channels' picks, because they were both the same, you could have won $348 for 26.8% ROI. In 2nd place is MMA Al Dente. If you followed all of his picks this week, you could have won $402 for a 30.9% return of investment. But of course, there's one channel who did a bit better, or a lot better, because he had all fights correct this week. That channel is Double Vision MMA 365. He had all 13 picks correct, and if you had followed all of them, you could have won $720 for a really good return of investment of 55.4%. So congratulations again to Double Vision MMA 365 and of course the rest of the channels who also did well this week. And here is the overview from all money won and lost from all channels this week. For the last part of the video, we'll take a look at which channels have the longest winning and losing streak. And we start with the losing streaks. These winning and losing streaks lists are in alphabetical order. You can see the total loss in the last column. 17 channels are on a 2-week losing streak. Out of those 17 channels, 5 are on a 3-week losing streak. And from those 5, only 2 are on a 4-week losing streak, which are Half the Battle and UFC Fight. There are no channels on a 5-week losing streak, so I hope for these 2 channels that they turn it around next week. And for the longest winning streaks, we have 15 channels that are on a 2-week winning streak. Out of those 15 channels, 4 are on a 3-week winning streak. 138 MMA, Fight Fiend Forecast, Keith Schillen from Sharedoc.com and the Ice Files. Which one of those are on a 4-week winning streak? Well, only one, and it is Fight Fiend Forecast. He is the only channel that is on a 4-week winning streak. So congratulations to him, and I hope he keeps it up. Don't forget to look at the channels who won the most money or at the most correct picks this week or at the longest winning streak. Links to their channels can be found in the description below. Also, don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed the content and found it informative, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would appreciate it a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.